We look at the odds and where they moved in the World Series market following the trade deadline yesterday in Major League Baseball. We look at the 6 best prices or even 7 best prices here. The odds as of Monday to start off this week on the left side. The odds currently following the deadline on the right. Now, I think it's natural to question, are these all based on the market moves following the MLB trade deadline? Is it just some maneuvering in this week with some bad results from Philadelphia at home against the Yankees that have continued to trend since the All-Star break of Philly not playing great baseball? Regardless, here's where the odds were on Monday. Plus 320 for the Dodgers, plus 460 for Philly, plus 550 for the Yanks. 3 best prices. The Yankees remain at plus 550. The Phillies move back. I think that's more because of bad baseball than the Dodgers even acquiring Jack Flaherty. But the Dodgers have the shortest number we have seen in nearly a month. 3-1 price to win the World Series.
It's a combination of everything, Ben, basically. It's, let's just say the Philadelphia Phillies out of the All-Star break playing very good baseball. The Dodgers don't acquire Flaherty. I'm not so sure the Phillies and the Dodgers wouldn't be neck and neck at that point in the odds market. But the fact that the Phillies aren't playing great baseball, the Dodgers are playing decent baseball and got that arm, that's the equivalent of, okay, now bettable here. Guys are going to be able to step in and say, you know what, I'm going to make an informed decision. I think I like the Dodgers now moving forward. I've always liked them. Now it looks like the Phillies are faltering a little bit. But we're not going to get that big of a difference because there's still 60 days left. Teams like the Phillies aren't playing well. They're still going to be in the playoffs. Whether or not the Dodgers play well over the next 2 weeks, they're still going to be in the playoffs. So it's sort of that mix of what does the team look like right now, Ben, and how do we think that team is going to look once we hit the playoffs and how well that they are playing. The Phillies are in a swoon right now. Some of the other teams making a rise here in the playoffs. This would be a fun market to watch, but I still do agree now, post-trade deadline, we were waiting on the Dodgers to make a move. They made a solid move in the starting pitcher. They deserve to be the favorites right now, and then compounding that is the Philadelphia Phillies not playing great baseball for the past couple weeks.
Yeah, it's a factor of everything as we continue to go through this list. The O's have their price shrink just by 50 cents to 6-1. The Astros remain at 13-1. The Braves did not do all that much at the deadline. They do add Jorge Soler, who won a World Series and a World Series MVP with Atlanta back in 2021. The Twins and the Guardians right now currently tied at an 18-1 price. That's tied for the 7th best number to win a World Series at this moment. Cleveland, a shutout victory yesterday over Detroit. They have that best record in the American League Central. The Twins have lost both of their games to start off this week to the New York Mets. Both the Twins and the Royals 6.5 games back of Cleveland in the American League Central. The Guardians on pace right now to win that division in a runaway as we enter the month of August. And if they keep winning baseball games, DRS, in a battle with the O's for that number 1 overall seed in the American League postseason bracket.
Yeah, you wanted to see a little bit more out of the Guardians, but I did like the move, getting an extra bat there that I do think is going to help them out. But this isn't the old trade deadlines that we looked at in the past where so many teams are out of it and it's a buyer's market. It's going to turn into now from here on out a seller's market because so many teams are in it. You're going to have to give up extra prospects just to prize some of these guys loose. And even yesterday comes down to it. You saw some of the reports coming out there, like a deal was in place for Jack Flaherty, not to go to the Dodgers, but to actually go to the New York Yankees. They backed out. The Dodgers capitalized, moved in and got the player. They don't care about the medicals, apparently, from what the Yankees were looking at. But it's just so simple where you could really improve your team at the deadline and get away with it cheap. Like, man, that didn't cost all that much. Now it's costing you a lot. So moving forward, some of these teams that are all in, what does that actually mean? Because you're going to have to give up the farm just to get decent starting pitching when that wasn't the case in the past.
Look at the National League wild card race, as we have mentioned. Some of the moves not featured on those 7 best prices behind are really the big moves on that market and the odds board. The Padres up to a 30-1 number. The Arizona Diamondbacks, their price shortening in a large way, 45-1. For some reason, the Mets, who are 45-1 to start off this week and have won both of their games over the Minnesota Twins, have moved back by $15 to a 60-1 number. Is it because the Mets didn't do enough at the deadline? I don't really get that one.
Yeah, I didn't research it all that much of who they're going to be playing over the next, let's just say 3 to 4 weeks at this point, because usually that really is the tipping point. Like, hey, the Mets are having a really good run, but oh no, let's just take a look at who they're going to be playing over the next 5 to 6 series. You're also looking at the Mets playing good baseball, as we said. Is that going to continue? Forget about who they're playing, and you're expecting them to sort of hit a lull and say, maybe you're not as good as what we anticipated over the last month to month and a half. But they didn't make a lot of moves at the deadline. I didn't think they needed to. If this team's going to get hot, it's just going to be on the bats alone at this point. And I do agree. Stick to the plan that you had. Just because you had a couple weeks here, Steve Cohen, stick to the game plan of what you're going to do in the future and not just go give up prospects and pay for whoever at the deadline on a team that I don't think too many people think actually are going to compete for a World Series in the first place.
This is the time of year where you go to Tankathon and you see the remaining schedule in terms of its strength in Major League Baseball. The Mets, one of the 10 easiest, 8th easiest schedule, still out there in Major League Baseball, 4th easiest in the National League. Not sure why that is the case. Maybe some more value and some bigger prices at 60-1 for the New York Mets. It's a competitive National League wildcard race, as we have shared, but the Mets and the Padres right now, both a half-game lead over Arizona. Those 6 teams all separated by just 2.5 games. The Braves, Padres, Mets, Cardinals, D-backs, and Pirates. How about the Dodgers? The biggest move at the deadline, the acquisition of Jack Flaherty. L.A. has been the best team and the favorite, at least, to win a World Series all year long. A little bit of movement on the best record in Major League Baseball, down by over $2 because the Phillies have started to struggle. Now the Phils tied alongside the Guardians for the best record in Major League Baseball, both 65 and 42. The Dodgers 63 and 45, just a game and a half behind Philadelphia at this moment. Donnie, the acquisition of Jack Flaherty, does it truly does it truly change your evaluation of LA in terms of winning a World Series this year?
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, because we knew they were talented enough to go to the playoffs, regardless of who they traded for at the deadline, and talented enough to possibly win a World Series. You just wanted to see an extra move as a starting pitcher down the stretch to help them, and they did that. But if they would have, let's just say, go out and made those moves like they did in the past, like, oh, we're just going to show up with Max Scherzer and Trey Turner at the deadline, they weren't able to do that, and that saved Major League Baseball, because if we didn't have all these wild cards, the Dodgers probably would have got 3 starting pitchers at the deadline, and away they go to the World Series.